Hi, I'm Mary, a librarian and book reviewer with a focus on stories written for kids, tweens, and teens. Today I get to share with you this book called Sleepy Sea, written by Bonnie Kelso. It's hard to fall asleep sometimes when you are all alone, especially when you're a kid. And for one particular girl, she's having a really hard time. Luckily, her dolphin Stuffy starts to talk to her one night and explains a little bit about how dolphins like to sleep with one eye open. And then they start talking about other characters who live in the sea and how they sleep in different ways as well. So as they're going through the story, the reader and the little girl are learning about how animals sleep all over the ocean, and it starts to lull her into a little bit of calm as well. This story is a really interesting blend of nonfiction and fiction, where you have the character here who's having a little bit of trouble falling asleep, and then you have some nonfiction stories and information about characters and creatures that live under the sea. So, as you're going through the book, there are several different elements to the story. You have the discussion that the narrator and her dolphin friend are having together. So you have the word bubbles, then you have also your nonfiction segment here on each page. So if you're reading with younger kids, then you're going to have the opportunity just to read this part. If you're reading with a bit older, then you can read more into the nonfiction section. There are a lot of really challenging vocabulary words in here that might be even beyond some of the grown-ups reading this. There isn't a pronunciation guide or a glossary, so it would require a little bit of research outside of the book in order to understand what they are if they are unfamiliar. But it's a great way to introduce kids to the nonfiction element, especially within the scope of a very familiar setting of not being able to fall asleep on one's own, especially when they feel like they are alone in their space. So there are a lot of surprising discoveries in here. Even folks who are familiar with sea creatures might not know all of the things about the sleeping that happens. And the illustrations are really cartoon-like and accessible to kids, really friendly and approachable. And as the characters are going through the ocean discovery, you can tell that there's a little bit of imagination involved as well, as they don't necessarily leave the child's room in order to have these adventures and to learn these things. So for kids who are struggling a little bit to sleep on their own, this can be a helpful way to invite them to sleep because they're thinking about how other creatures sleep and why humans need to do it so much. And also, it's just a nice soothing story to read at bedtime because it gets your brain working in different ways and thinking about things besides what's happening during the day. If this sounds like a great fit for you or for someone you know, I hope you look for it wherever you get your books.